Well, I definitely think Simmering was, it wasn't super cohesive in my opinion, but I think my goal at the time. So after I dropped Mooncakes, right, and people started listening to it and started hearing it, since that project was about kind of like the Asian American, my perspective and different experiences within that, people saw it as kind of like a gimmick or kind of like, oh, he's that dude who like raps about Asian stuff, or, like Asian American stuff only. And so like I wanted to change that because I've been making music for a while now. Of course, that's my first like official release, but that's like not the only stuff I talk about. So on Simmering, I wanted to kind of showcase a little more diversity and like the different type of stuff that I make. And so it's like you said, that kind of was an amalgamation of different songs that I just kind of had worked on and recorded over like however long that period of time was. And loosely the theme was how I framed it, and why I decided on Simmering was like, at the time I was doing a lot of like Instagram food stories, and I still like food a lot. I think that's a part of like food is just a big part of my identity as like I think, whereas like any like immigrant's identity, like food from your homeland and how that's just a big part of your culture. So that's just been so important to me. I figured like all these songs could sound kind of different from each other. And in a way, I can look at it as like each song is kind of like a different flavor, and I'm hitting like a different palette. So that's how I frame Simmering. It's kind of like the menu that's given to you. And that was a project that I wanted to rap on, I wanted to sing on, I wanted to be real personal, but I also wanted to have fun on. Yeah, that I think it's done its job. I think the next steps from now is kind of, now that I've shown this versatility and these different flavors that I can present on Simmering, now each project I have going forward is going to be a little more cohesive in terms of its sound and in terms of what it's trying to do, the themes it's trying to have, and what it's trying to convey and whatnot. Because I think that's important too for artists to have something recognizable. I was doing when I was starting out, I didn't really start going on social media that much, like Instagram and stuff, until like right before I started working on the Mooncake project, because I wanted to start pushing that out. And the cooking stuff was just something that I had on my story, because at the time I wasn't really doing that much like interesting stuff. Like the most interesting thing I do in a day is probably cook. So I would just start like storying the cooking stuff, and then at the end I would take a bite and I go like, tasty, and that would be like something that I think was just like accidental, but then people started latching on to that, like replying like tasty, like, oh, you didn't say tasty, like turning that into a catchphrase. So I was like, okay, well, it's kind of picked up organically, I'm just like continue off of it. So I ended up making that song Tasty on the Simmering project, which, by the way, a video for that is finally coming like over a year later. That it's been such a mess like organizing that video, but it's gonna come out, I think, in June. Sidetrack, but yeah, so I think that cooking stuff just kind of happened a little organically. And I did for a little while want to start this Cooking with Chow series. And I think I have like maybe like 2 videos out on YouTube, and there's like 2 or 3 other ones that I have just on my computer that I just never got around to uploading. But I wanted to go in and just try out like making some cooking, make some food, and as a double to that, that was also gonna be part of the rollout for Tasty, the music video, to go into that. But there were so many delays in that video. Like we shot that like last November. It's barely getting wrapped up like this week. But anyway, that's I think just it's just kind of worked out, come hand in hand also with the name Chow Mane being food based as well. Like food is just something I love, bro.